Good morning. How are you guys? I'm so excited to do another morning cartooning with you all. I've been chatting with some of you in the chat, and I'm glad you're all excited to do today's class. Today we're going to do hands, expressions, and then we're also going to do eggs, which will explain in a little bit. But first, let's get us started off. Hi guys, hi. Um, Maybe a Sharpie. Do you have a Sharpie for the egg? That would be helpful. Um, but I don't want to spoil too much, so we're gonna leave it at that. Okay. So today we have our first. Today is our number 10 class, which is awesome because that's a pretty big marker. Um, and hold on one second, technical difficulties. There we go. Okay, so let's get into what we're going to do today. All right, so today we have our quote of the day. We have our art review. We're going to learn how to draw hands. We're going to do a quick exercise break or stretch break. Then we're going to do egg heads. Then we're going to do our challenge of the day, and then I'm going to send you guys off for the rest of the day. Don't be scared. If you're not allowed to use eggs, you can still do the exercise that we're going to do with the eggs, and you can just follow along with the video that I have here. But if you do have eggs, and they could be plastic eggs too, if you use them for the Easter egg hunt or something like that, you can totally use those. If not, you can totally follow along the video and you don't need it. Okay. Yeah, so let's do this. Okay, so here we go. Now, our first quote of the day comes from Leonardo da Vinci, and he said, and if you guys don't know who he is, he did a lot of paintings. He did the Mona Lisa. He did a lot of the drawings of the skeletons that you probably see in most drawing books. So he studied a lot of anatomy. And he also did this picture called The Last Supper, and it has to do with Easter, so I included this one. I felt like it was appropriate. Plus, he also studied hands and feet and heads and the anatomy, so it works out for both of those reasons. Leonardo da Vinci said, "The painter who draws merely by practice and by eye, without any reason, is like a mirror which copies everything placed in front of it without being conscious of their existence." Now, sorry, I'm laughing at the comments too that I see them coming in. I don't know about owl eggs. I don't know if you guys even have access to owl eggs. Are those different than other eggs? By a lot. And also, if you don't have eggs, you can use maybe a ball too. Hi, Kylie. Glad you're here. Back to our quote, Leonardo da Vinci. I'm going to read it one more time, just so it sinks in. He said, "The painter who draws merely by practice and by eye, without any reason, is like looking into a mirror which copies everything placed in front of it without being conscious of their existence." So what he's saying is that if you're an artist and you're just drawing everything that you see, and kind of like if you're just copying cartoons especially, and if you're just copying somebody else's drawing, or if you're just looking and you're drawing what you see and that's it, and you don't understand what it is or how it's made up or the components of the story behind it, you're kind of just like a mirror where you're just reflecting what you see, and there's no self-interpretation, because when you want to interpret something as an artist, you want to interpret the essence of what it is, not just how it looks. And so, for example, in his Last Supper picture, you could see all the different expressions on the characters in the picture's faces, and each one has a different expression. And that's kind of why what I was trying to get at today is that you could just draw somebody's face, but unless you understand the emotions going on behind it, it's going to be really difficult to really capture the feeling of that face, because you'll just be copying what you see. Now, we're going to take a moment, and I want you to actually this time keep your eyes open, and I want you to try to look beyond what you see at first. Like Vincent van Gogh mentioned, as an artist, you must be able to see more than what's right in front of them. So take a deep breath in still though. And out. And in. And out. And in. And out. Okay. And I keep on breathing like that. And so I want you guys to look around your room right now while we're keep on breathing. In and out. And out. And I want you to look around and I want you to look at everything that you can see. And I want you to think of all the different parts that make up the things that you see. So I want you to look a little bit deeper and not just look at the surface. In Leo's paintings, he was able to show the emotions behind the faces. That's why when he painted the Mona Lisa, it was so interesting because of her smile. It wasn't just like somebody smiling. There's a lot of like feeling and emotion going on behind it. Yeah, so I want you guys to look at that and see if you can look and feel the components of what made up what you're looking at. So if you're looking at like even a TV or a computer right now, think of all the different parts and the wires that go into it. Think of all the wires that connect it to the power source. Think of that power source connecting to the wall and all the electricity that is being transferred right now. If you have a pet and you're looking at your pet, think about what are they thinking? What do they want right now? What is going on in their head? What is their priority? What are they trying to accomplish today? If anything. Okay, let me see. Now, while you guys are thinking of that, I want you to keep on breathing. Okay. All right. Now we're going to take a deep breath. One last one. My dog wants to sleep. Breathe out. And let's pause right now because we're going to draw. All right. So our art review for this week, here we go, comes from Zoe Gray and Genevieve D. And I just wanted you guys to check these amazing watercolors out that they did. Last Friday, we did watercoloring a masterpiece. And if you look, Zoe's, I love how you drew a different scene than the one that I was showing you, and that you were able to still capture and use all the techniques, even though you weren't copying it exactly. And I love that you did a deer. I'm interested to see what kind, if you actually saw that deer or if you were just watching, coming up with it from your mind. It looks really nice. So I love the watercolors, especially the watercolors in the sky. That's a really nice gradient that you got going there. Also, Genevieve, very cool. I really want to see what it looks like with the colors. I hope you were able to do colors on yours, and I like that you were able to follow along so well. I think that's funny that you said Hobbs put on a few pounds. If you guys have any artwork that you guys want to share with me, definitely send it along. Hold on. Send it along to noahfontana@gmail.com, and I'll check it out and I'll review it, and then we can share it for the next class, the next episode that we do. Or you can, obviously you can DM me and send it to me on Instagram too, which some of you have been doing, which I love. These watercolors were amazing. Sorry, I'm just catching up on all the chat. Okay, so let's get drawing onto hands. Okay, here we go. All right, now to draw a hand, just like everything that I've been teaching you guys how to draw, it's important to just simplify it down. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to simplify it down, and we're going to create some easy kind of cheats that you guys can do with you to create a hand. So I like to start off with, let's start off with a simple square. Okay. Now, also in the chat, please comment, because we're going to get to it later. Right now I'm just going to teach you the basic hand, but in the chat, I want you guys to type in different kinds of hand gestures that we can make. So you can do like, there's like a peace sign, there's like a fist, there's like a fist punching like that. There's a lot of different ones. There can be like a straight karate chop kind of hand like that from different angles. You can do like Spider-Man or like a sign language thing. You can do like the pinky out. You can do a thumbs up. There's lots of different ways that we could express what's going on in our minds with our hands, just like Da Vinci was saying. And so I want us to try to get really expressive hands. So in the chat, write down, comment what kind of hand gestures you'd like me to help you draw, and we're going to add those into the list. I have a few already, but finger guns, very good. Awesome. Perfect. Peace sign. Okay, cool. So for right now, let's start with a basic hand, then we'll figure out how to draw this basic shape into those signs. So you can go like this, and just from the side of each side of this square, you can draw the two fingers. So this would be the pinky, index, and thumb. Oops. Okay, and you just draw two more lines now for the middle finger and the ring finger. There we go. All right. Oh, yeah, that one, the OK sign. Oh, good. I love that you guys the Spock one. I love that you guys are using emojis. That's very clever. Okay. Okay. So now off of this picture right here, we can lighten it. Yeah. And now we can go in and we can draw in, like try and trace over those outlines, almost like we're putting on a glove on top of this hand. So this is like the skeleton of a hand. We're going to add on all the skin and the muscles. So we can make a wrist, comes out right here. The hand kind of bulges out, and if you look, a lot of my learning comes from actually just looking at my hand. So if you look, my wrist is thinner than the rest of my hand. Now, a trick also before we get onto that, let me go back to this. To keep all the fingers the same and to keep them all like in line, a lot of people do this kind of curved line around it, and that way you kind of get an idea of where each finger's knuckle is going to be. And then you can also get a better idea of how tall each finger should be. Because obviously the pinky should be the shortest one, the middle finger sticks out the most, like this one, yeah. Good like that. Cool. Let me know if you guys can't see that very well. I can always make it lighter. Okay. Uh-oh, did you guys get disconnected? Hold on a second. Okay, hold on. Were you guys able to figure it out? Hold on a second. I don't even know if you guys can hear me right now. Okay. Yes, I think the trick is here. what Sienna said. Okay, I'm gonna message in the chat. Okay, great. Oh, good. I'm glad you guys are able to still see it. Okay, cool. Okay. Okay, so let's get back to our hand. Cool. I'm glad you guys are. Oh, you guys are all here. Awesome. Okay, let's keep on going then. Okay, so we have our pinky here, right? We're gonna swoop that little like glove around, almost like we're wearing a latex glove, which everybody is wearing these days because it's coronavirus. And here we go. And again, kind of do like a little U underneath it to connect the two fingers. Now I want to show you a couple different ways to draw the hand. So don't worry if this one doesn't feel like it's the right fit for you. You draw a little crease for the hand like this. And the little creases for where the knuckles are. There we go. All right. Okay. Now, we're going to move on to one other different way that I've seen people draw hands that I kind of like to do too, because it's a little bit more like, it's a little bit more kind of intuitive, especially if you're drawing stick figures a lot. So here we go. So you can draw it from a circle. Draw a circle, and then from there you can still do the same fingers like that. And this kind of helps if you're drawing it from different angles. So just a lot of circles like that. And then if you go over it, you still have the same structure. Cool. I think you guys are catching on. I love it. I didn't doubt you guys for a second. Cool. There we go. Now, if you're still having trouble with the fingers, and once we get into like the bending of the fingers, there's one other tip that I can show you. And so that, say we draw our square again, right? Here's the thumb, index finger. Now, instead of just leaving it like that and going straight to the hand, I want you guys to try to draw these as like rectangular blocks. Okay, let's see if that helps. And you can make these either just one long block like this, or you can make them as individual blocks that are more like specific to the finger. Like this. There we go. And you can even have those bent, and then that's why it helps to have those fingers be bent. But let's try to do some of those hand expressions that we were talking about. Okay. Okay. Now, let's go. Let me check the comments. What was the first hand that we said we wanted to do? Finger guns, peace sign, thumbs up. All right, let's start there. Okay. Okay. Hi, Zach. Hi, it's Mateo. Hi, Mateo. All right, let's do some finger guns. So let's start off with, I think this one will be easier with the circles. Let's start off with the circle. Okay, I want to draw this bigger so you guys can see. There we go. And again, just like all the sketches that we've done, keep it nice and loose, keep it nice and free. And so I want to look at my hand right here. I want to make the hand shape with the finger gun, like that. And let's see, first finger kind of goes out like that. Second finger goes out like this. These all kind of curl in like that. Okay. Does anybody see the finger gun yet? Kind of? All right. Let's try to draw on top of it now. Oh, actually, let's do this. Let's do the rectangles for this one. This would be a good one for that one. Okay, so we start with a rectangle. This one is pretty much going straight up, so we can just voila, like that. Cool. For this hand, we can do another straight rectangle. There we go. Yeah, base shapes are always seem to help. It just kind of gives you something that you can trace over. So basically, you're just tracing over your own drawings. Okay, now this is where it's going to get a little bit complicated. So let's create a little cube like this. The tip of your finger, and I'm looking at my hand right now. I'm looking at the shape that I'm making with my hand. So I'm still using reference off of my hand. I'm not just trying to think of it in my head. I know there's like this misconception that artists just pop all this stuff out of their head and they just know how to do it naturally. I've never met an artist that doesn't use references in some sort of the way. So if you can, get a reference. Like there's totally a ton of references on Google that you guys can check out, or you have your own hands right here. So that's why all of these hands are going to be from the left hand, just so I could use my left hand as reference. Okay. Another square, a rectangle. This is going to be for the one that this is the last one that you're going to see. Let's see. Here we go. And again, I'm noticing that if in this right here, this is kind of creates a pretty smooth line. So watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to create a smooth line like this and draw that line. And that way all those fingers can fit into that. And it kind of just makes it, when things kind of fit together nicely, it's just aesthetically pleasing. And so most people like the drawing more if it kind of feels like it has more of a flow or like a sleekness to it. But that's up for each of you to decide how much you want your drawing to have that. That's more of like a stylistic preference. For right now, this is just going to help us draw the hand. Okay. And again, for the wrist, you can also do the same thing. And then the reason we use these basic shapes is because it helps us see the thing that we're drawing as like a 3D object, as opposed to just seeing it as like sticks and circles. Because now when we want to put the glove on over the hand, we'll actually think of it as like we've tricked our brain right now. Also, I noticed that this index finger is pretty tall, maybe a little too tall, and also it got way too wide at the top. And fingers typically get thinner at the top. There we go, okay. Okay, now we're going to lighten this layer so we can trace over it. Now typically if I was just going to draw this on paper and pad, I would just draw it very light. But since I want you guys to be able to see it very clearly, that's why I draw it so much darker. Alright, here we go. I'm going in for the real drawing right now. And again, even with the practice and the preliminary sketches, it's not going to look perfect on your first try. So I'm trying to be mindful of the knuckles. So when we're thinking about the knuckles, there's a knuckle right here, there's a knuckle right here, right here, and right here. So when we're drawing that hand, just be mindful of those knuckles. And if they're bent, if the finger's bent at all, it's going to have that crease, or it'll have that bend there. And make sure the fingers are getting gradually thinner. So even you can see the circles get thinner because your finger does get thinner ever so slightly. And if you caricature that a little bit, and by that I mean if you exaggerate it, it actually gives the effect that it's it looks more like a hand, even though it's less realistic. And there's a knuckle here too. An easy way to draw, an easy way to make it look more like a hand is to add some fingernails on it too. Let's see, we got thumb and on this finger too. There we go, and that really helps make it look more like a finger. There we go, and then just a little, there are a couple little crease techniques that you can add, like right here on the hand, that just give it the illusion of a hand a little bit more. Also some tendon lines right here. Let's see how that looks if we... Not bad, right? For finger guns. Then all you have to do is just draw some motion lines. There we go. And now we got a finger gun's hand. Alright. I think we have time for one more hand. We might have to do a part 2 for the hand drawings if you guys like that, because you guys commented a lot of hands, so that's good. Let's see. Let's do... Let's do the OK one. I think that would be a good one just because it's curved, and I think that that's what That's a tricky one to do. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing, same process. Remember, okay. So if we're doing this hand right here, okay, but I'm going to do it from this perspective so that you guys can see, so that I can look at it easily like this. Okay, and each of you, while you're drawing it too, also remember to make this finger, make this shape with your hand, and then that way you could follow along with your own hand. Okay. So for this one, I'm going to actually start with the square, because the way that I'm looking at it right now, I can see the shape of the square a little bit more in my hand. Like if you look at it, well, you'll see. Here we go. It's like a stretched square. I think this is why I was so bad at geometry, because if something was like a rhombus or a trapezoid or something like that, where it was like actually wonky, I didn't see it as that the lines were going down. I saw it as the lines were going into the distance, as like, hi Coonies. And yes, sound effects would be so much fun to have, maybe one day. Yeah, I would see, like I would look at this square and I would see a flat plane going into the distance as if it was like the top of my hand. And I think that's why shapes didn't make sense to me when they called this not a square. Because I'm like, no, it is a square. It's just going into the distance. All right, here we go. So let's see. Let's try a new thing. We're going to start with the knuckles this time. And we're going to connect the dots almost. And here we have the thumb part of the hand. There's that joint. Oops, not too far. Cool. Just checking in on you guys to make sure everybody's doing okay in the chat. Okay, I think what I did was I made this circle too far over. Let's try this again. There we go. That feels right. That's where I want that circle to go. And if it kind of looks robotic, kind of like the faces that we were drawing when we said, oh, it looks like a robot. So what's interesting is that actually the robots are the things that look like us. When we were learning how to, when people like way back in the day were learning how to create robots and stuff, they looked at how our joints worked. We have different kinds of joints for different things. So my wrist is different than my neck, and my shoulder is different than my elbow, because my shoulder needs to move up and down like that, whereas my elbow just bends in this direction. It doesn't bend left or right. What's actually twisting is my shoulder. So when you say that the way that we draw it looks like a robot, it's true, because robots have taken a lot from how humans move. Okay. Here we go. If you want, you can do a smooth line like that. You can do it like this and then add the circles in that way, if you want. There we go. Okay, cool. Looking pretty good. I think that that's a pretty good hand for right now. Let's move on to sketching it out and actually drawing in the details. Okay. So here we go. Let's draw the wrist. Now again, I'm looking at my hand the whole time, so you guys should be doing the same thing too. So just going to follow that around, kind of just tracing over. And if you look, the way that your thumb, it gets thinner around around the part where it's not the knuckle. That's almost as if it's like draping a cloth over your knuckles and over the structure, because the skin kind of falls over it and can fold and bend like that, kind of like a cloth. So it does get thinner where there's not the bulge in the knuckle. There we go. Cool. All right. If you guys don't have time to finish it right now, you could always go back and watch it later. And again, this part right here in the hand, it should have a little crease because we're actually bending it in. So when things get bent together with like a cloth, they fold and the other side gets stretched. And then when you go like that, this part is what folds and this part gets stretched. That's a good way to show different kinds of like pressure in your drawing is by making things stretch and get pulled taut. But we're going to go cover that in a different class where we learn how to draw like drapes and like cloth. Now, hopefully your hands don't look as bony as mine do if you're tracing over your own hand. You can give a little shadow effect too to give the idea of a knuckle. And be mindful of how you draw the nails. The reason I'm fixing mine right now is because I think I drew the nail on the thumb as in a different perspective, and so it actually made it look like the thumb was a little twisted. Okay. There we go. I'm doing these ones a little bit faster just for time. There we go. And if you really want, you can even add some lines for like the tendons at the top of the hand, like this. Let me see if my light doesn't catch it. There we go. Voila. All right, now obviously you can change it and adjust it as you want. There's a different way to draw baby fingers as opposed to somebody that's like closer to death and their hands are looking a little bit more skeletal too. But yeah, check it out. All right, we're gonna switch now to do a quick little like stretch. If you guys need to, now would be the time to get up, shake your legs out. I'm gonna stay seated just because of my curtains behind me. I don't want to mess them up. But here, let's stretch our arms. Here, stretch your arms like that. There we go, good. Stretch your arms like this. Also, while you're getting up, I want you guys to find your egg. Okay, so I have my egg right here. Let's see if you guys can see it. There you go. If you have an Easter egg, perfect. If you just have a regular egg, that's fine. If you have a plastic egg, that's fine. I trade in Urco, and I'm not sure which one is commenting, but hi. Good. Oh yeah, I see you guys are talking. I'm catching up on the chat now as we're stretching our hands. I was actually homeschooled all the way from my first day of school all the way up until I finished high school. And then my first day of school was actually when I took the SATs at a public high school, and then I went to college after that, at obviously public college. All right, cool. Shake your neck, stretch it back and forth. Good. Front, back, front, back. Good. All right, shake it all out. Drink some water. Okay. Now we can move on to our next phase. Okay. Oops, there we go. Okay. So if you guys have an egg, I want to show you what we're going to do with it now. So let me know in the comments that you guys all have your eggs. Also, grab a Sharpie as well. Okay. Okay. Now, if you have your egg and your Sharpie, we're going to draw a couple things on it. Okay. So we're going to start from the top, and we're going to, right here at the top, I'm going to try to show you as best as I can. We're going to draw a straight line all the way down to the bottom, and then connect it all the way onto the other side, like this. Try to keep it as straight as possible. I know it's difficult. There we go. So now I have this squiggly line, but it goes all the way from one side to the other, like that. Now we're going to draw a line halfway around this way. And try to keep it as centered as you possibly can. Oh, nice. That actually lined up pretty well. Let me know how your guys' are lining up. There we go. That's awesome. Seafood instead of shifu. Yes, I personally liked being homeschooled. I thought it was fun. And I got to do a lot of art activities because my mom, who taught me, knew that I liked art. So I got to do that a lot more than I think most kids got to do, which is part of where I got all these ideas for. All right. And okay, so we're right here. Also, thank you, Maya. I really appreciate it. Any kind of donation or help that you guys can offer is much appreciated. It helps me be able to keep on doing these videos for you guys for free. Yeah. I'm working on ways that we can create extra bonuses for people that donate too. So stay tuned for that. But if you guys wanted to donate, there's a link down the bottom that you can donate to. All right, so now we got our head right here. And I think I just spoiled it because I called it a head and not an egg. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this egg to, you're going to use this egg to draw a face. So we're going to do the basic lines of our face. So with the side line like this, and I'm going to show you what I mean on a piece of paper now. But then we're going to use the egg again later. So hang on to the egg. Don't crack it or anything. And yeah, to what you guys were saying, oh, I almost drew my iPad with my Sharpie. That would have been bad. Okay. So let's say we have our egg here. All right. So we drew this curved line like that around it. And we drew this line around it like that. If you notice, this does look a lot like our head shape that we're used. So we're going to use this to draw the head in a bunch of different ways and try to use that. And then we're going to just tilt the head, copy it, and then make it into a certain expression. Kind of like what we did before, but now we're using an egg so that we're seeing if that helps a little bit more. Exactly. I was lucky my mom is an actual real teacher. So she went to school for that, and so she did a really good job. I know some parents that teaching isn't their thing. Teaching is not something that everybody can do. I think everybody can help other people learn, but to teach a whole group of people, some people just don't have the desire to even do that. So I was lucky that my mom did. And it worked out all right, I think. Okay, so on your egg, what we're going to do is we're going to, here we go. So here's our egg. We're going to draw in just a little dot for the eyes. You guys can make whatever face you want on it. You can do just a line like that for the mouth. You guys can make it smiley on the mouth. You guys can even draw a little C shape for the ear on the side. I'll show you what that'll look like on here. Okay, so here's our egg. There we go. I'm just trying to get it so that it doesn't get blown out. There we go. Perfect right there. So we're going to draw an eye. Okay. Here we go. So you guys see my little egg shape? He's got an eye here. Let me do this. What am I thinking? Here we go. Little egg-shaped character. And you have the ear shape right there. And now we can use this to draw, because now we have the grid lines. And so if we make it tilted like this, or like down like that, we can use the black outlines. I'm going to show you what I mean. Okay. 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 Yep, a happy face. Okay. So we're going to tilt this face. I'm going to tilt it kind of downwards. We're going to try to do like a sad egg face. So I'm going to look at the egg, tilting it down like this, and try to just copy the egg that I see. And the important part now that we're using is the lines. So be very mindful. Don't just draw the lines exactly straight up and down like we've done before. Now we're going to try to follow the egg shape and really look at the way that the lines are going. There we go. And we'll make him a sad face now. And then now you can see exactly how much of the ear you'd actually see, and it kind of helps you get an idea of drawing those faces. Let's draw a happy one where he's like looking upwards. And again, if you guys don't have an egg, that's totally fine. You could just follow along with the drawing that I'm doing right now. The idea to take away from this too is to use different tricks and tips. This is almost like using one of those wood sculptures that you can move for the body. And you can just, artists use those for drawing. But now you can see how the lines are going to curve. There we go. Okay. Now after this, just like with the hands, you can make the skeleton. This is the skeleton for the face. And now we can add in the nose. We can even make them more detailed. You know what? I'm going to do this on a different layer actually. There we go. We're going to make this person nice and sad. Just give her a nose. And we'll plump out the cheeks a little bit, because everybody has cheeks. Okay. Give her some earrings just for fun. All right. Let me know how you guys are looking with yours. I know, right? Okay. The eyelashes are very long, yes. And she's still got the egg head too, which I think is kind of funny, so we'll leave that there. We won't bother with doing hair right now. Let's make this person funny and happy. There we go. Nice. And if you look, right, now the egg shape actually helped me a lot. Now I know where everything should go. It makes the things a lot easier for me to draw the face. Cool. All right. There we go. And that was all just from our little egg helper friend right here. So if you guys have an extra egg, let me see if I can, there we go. If you guys have an extra egg and you want to use it to help you draw, I think it's a really good trick to use. And yeah. And so last time, here are the egg shapes, and you guys can make them in any different pose or direction. I think that it'll be a good little trick that you can pull out whenever you need to. And you could also use other things like a ball or something like that. Go full on Wilson in this quarantine, Castaway, and make a head out of a volleyball. Okay, so that was our egg head challenge. Our challenge of the day is I want you to draw a different face each day this week, and I want you to try to give it the expression of how you're feeling that day. So by the end of this week, you'll have 7 heads. So by next Tuesday, you guys will have 7 heads. And but if you have any heads that you draw in between now and the next episode, which is going to be on Thursday, send them in to me. So also in the comments below, definitely comment what we should draw next in the YouTube comments. Not in the live stream chat because that's harder for me to look through because those I'd have to scrub through the whole video. So put them in the comments below. Let me know. Submit your drawings to noahfontana@gmail.com to be featured on next episode. Yes, definitely send it all in. Even if I don't respond to your emails right away, I definitely look through all of it and I include everybody who sends it in. I make sure that I do that much. Don't forget to thumbs up and subscribe this video. And I'll see you guys on Thursday. On Thursday, we're going to learn how to draw your room. And by that, I mean we're going to do some like layout and props, which will be a lot of fun. Maybe we'll draw some succulents. Maybe we'll draw your pet. Whatever's in your room that day. So I'm excited to see how those come out. That's going to be on Thursday, 10 a.m. PST, 1 p.m. if you're on the East Coast. Yeah, I'll see you all Thursday. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.